Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Mika Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Vegan Outreach, and this is the last day this year. You can help me, help them, help the animals. First, you could make a donation to our fundraiser here on Twitch. We've already raised $10 thanks to a single donation by WolfAxe2. But we could exceed that if you're able to donate, so please do if you can. But if you can't, no worries. Just watch this stream and make sure to bring your friends, because I'll be making a donation of my own at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count on Twitch. You can also find links to Vegan Outreach in the chat here for this stream in my Twitch description. And also, if you're watching this as a recording on YouTube later, there will be a link in the description. There you can find out more about what Vegan Outreach does, how they help animals, and make a donation. It is Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, time to end the week with some fun art. We've been working on this piece for the past 2 weeks, and it is going to be epic if we can finish it today, because I am taking next week off. I've been trying to take 1 week off per month from streaming to recharge and give myself time to do other things like tidy up my studio, which is a chronic problem here. So I really hope I can finish this. I've got my Copic swatch book ready. It's ready to go, starting with marker coloring. I'm going to use my Copic markers. So I've got my swatch book. It has all of my markers swatched so that I can see what they are going to look like and compare them to each other. So even though the Copic markers have a colored cap, it is not reliable at all. Don't use that. You'll be disappointed. I also need to get my reference image up. This character is my friend Sketchy. He's here sometimes in chat. This is his OC, and he helpfully sent me a reference image with color. He started by sending me a black and white reference image, but then he made me a color one, so I'm going to see if I downloaded it or if I need to go into my message history. Okay, I downloaded it. So this is the reference he gave me, so I can match these colors as close as possible. You know, this is a limited range of colors here in the Copic collection, but I'll match them as close as possible. And I always like to start with the lightest color first. Alcohol markers, and indeed most markers, are a lot like watercolor in that it's best if you start with the lighter colors first and then build on that and leave white spaces, because you can't take it back once you put a dark color down. So the lightest would be probably actually the whites of her eyes, and then we'll move on to her skin. She has fairly fair skin, and he explained this element of her story is that she's always cloaked and hidden because she's an unwelcome presence among most people, and so she does not get very much exposure to the sun. So for her eyes, I like to use a cooler gray, maybe not totally cool gray. I've got 2 cool grays and 2 warm grays, and it goes cool, slightly warm, warm. So I think for the eyes we'll do neutral gray. I think I tend to do that. And it's the white of the eye, so we don't want to go too extreme. I'll just start with N0 through 2. That'll probably be enough. It's also such a small space, we can't really fit that much in there. So N0 through 2. This is the point as well where I need to decide on a light source, because the reference images, one was black and white it was just a character design image, and then this one is flat color. So I'm going to choose a light source. My typical light source tends to be from here. So I'll probably do that because it's just easier. Because it would be so nice to finish a project as my last stream of the month. So there's nothing left over during my recovery rest week. Of course, if I can't finish it, it's not the end of the world or anything. It just feels so satisfying if I can. I'm just going to layer these colors on. Hopefully I don't encounter too many dry markers during this coloring session. I've been dealing with that a lot recently. That's actually on my to-dos in Habitica, where I manage my life. I manage my work life and my personal life using Habitica, and I have a to-do in there for refilling my markers because I have been having a bit of trouble with really dry ones. The markers are very old, so it's actually a testament to the quality. So I've had these markers for at least a decade. I think I got them in 2007, but I can't remember. But anyway, some of them are finally at the point where they really need a refill, and they're so dry, and some of them are like cakey because they're so dry. So next we'll do her skin color, which this actually looks really close to what I'm seeing on my phone. I don't know, it probably won't look close because the phone will look, yeah, the phone looks blue in the camera, but with my naked eye, this actually looks really close. But what I usually use is this one. They're not that different. So maybe I will just go with my usual here. And in fact, there is a little bit of shadow, it looks like, just under her chin in my reference image, and it looks like this color. So let's go with this one. Really, I think that's the usual one I use. Well, it's got to be one of them. It's got to be the ones I usually use. So I'll just get them both out, actually, to start with E41 and E43. 41 and 43. Oh, they're right next to each other. Did you see that? This marker just rolled away. The reason I keep getting up is because I have my markers stored in these nice stackable marker racks. So they're all displayed, they're all in order, it's very easy to get them, and I just stand up, walk 5 feet over to the corner of my room where they are, and select them off there. And then, an added bonus of that is that I'm not sitting this whole time. I'm getting up, sitting down, getting up, sitting down, which is much better for your body. I know from personal experience. So instead of getting like a bag or something that I could tote around and set on the desk here, I actually like having them in those racks. It's on a bookshelf. Those marker racks on my bookshelf. Give me a little reason to get up and move around. So I used to work a sit-down job, and I worked long 10 to 12 hour shifts, and my back is permanently damaged from that. So I'm trying to keep it from getting worse now that I don't have to sit for that long period of time anymore. Take care of myself a little better. So anything that supports me in that way, it's nice to work it in because it's just a little thing. It's not like an extra workout or something like that. It's just a little bit more movement to accomplish the same thing that I want to do anyway, which is use my markers, the color. And I have not read the book, but there's the Blue Zones study, which is the 5 areas in the world, concentrated areas where people often live into their hundreds and they're very healthy and have a great quality of life as well. So it's not just that they live a long time, but they live a an excellent quality of life during that time. One of the keys that was determined from the study of those blue zones was that although the people in those areas do sit, they don't sit for a really long time. They get up and get down. So it sounds like dancing. They get up and they get down. No, they're moving around. So they're not necessarily working out all the time, but they're not stuck in a single position for a long time. And that makes me feel really confident about my future prospects, because I also get up and sit down in various different workspaces. I have a different place where I meditate and study and where I write my first drafts of things. And then I also have a different place like right here where I work on physical media art. It's a different spot from over here where I do digital media work and other PC work, and etc. So I like having my markers over to the side there, giving me a reason to get up during the stream. Okay, just adding shadows based on my imagined light source. Ooh. I don't know if you heard that big boom sound, but it's probably the dumpster that's behind our fence in the neighborhood behind us. Oh, it's looking cute. Let's keep shading. I think her legs will mostly be in shadow with all of this clothing around. So we've got 2 layers of shading. I did 3 layers on the eyes, but this is just a tiny little area. I think I'll wait to do the next layer of shading on the face until we get more color on here, so that we can create a balanced sense of the light. Because if I shade everything piecemeal, it won't necessarily work together. So let's look at what is the next darkest thing. So we're starting with the lightest. It's really close. I'm squinting my eyes as I'm looking over here at the reference image that I put up on my phone. I think it's probably the brown, the light brown areas on the boots and the bracers, though I don't think we're going to see. Oh, we might see a little bit up here. Okay, so we've got a little bit that will be showing on the bracer. So it's actually very close. Let's just use this shadow color. It is so close in color. We're going to use this shadow color as the base color for the light brown areas on her equipment. So on the bracers, and then on her boots with these cool fold over fantasy tops. And it actually comes down here where the laces are too. We'll just leave that as is. We won't worry about shading yet. So the next color I think will be, oh, the white part on the front of her jacket. That's actually lighter than some of the other stuff we've done, but it slipped my attention. It looks like a fairly cool color. So let's just go for cool gray for it, and then it will look different from her eyes. It is white though, so we just start with, so there's actually a C00, a very, very cool gray. I don't have that one though, so we'll start with C0 through 2. We'll just fill the whole area. Double checking where it goes. Okay, so it's not in the middle part, but it's like here. Fill the whole area with the C0 to start. This makes me think that my, what was it, neutral? Yeah, my neutral gray 0 is dry because it made hardly any difference when I put it down on the paper, but this C0 is making a significant amount of difference. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a moment. It's alcohol marker, so it dries fairly quickly, but in such a teeny tiny space, it's so fast to fill in that I'm going to give it a second to dry because I actually want the hard edge that will be created by putting new marker onto dried marker. If I were to put the new marker onto the wet marker, they would sort of fuse and integrate and have a softer edge. I don't want that here, at least not yet, because I want to create a distinct sense of the shading. Hopefully that's dry. I use my finger to tell if it's dry, not just because of the sense of if it's damp, but also if it feels cool, then it's probably still wet enough that those marker colors will fuse. This feels nice and dry and warm. That made hardly any difference, so I'm just going to go straight in with the next color. Alright, I might need more depth later, but let's just keep going. Putting down base color with just the first level of shading. Sometimes I just do base color only. Just depends on my mood. So next, let's do her hair. I think that's the next darkest, or at least it's competing with her jacket for the same level, so we'll just go with the hair first. Now her hair is a very vibrant blue. It's not like a royal blue, and it's not particularly on this side of blue, the blue-green either. It feels really solidly in this group. At least as far as what markers I have, and it's also quite vibrant. So this one feels a little too pale, but maybe this will be a good start color, and then we could move up. Or maybe I should just go with these. I don't like this one as a base color though. So we'll just do B24. Just get the base color in there. There it is. So we're just going to color the whole hair in, but not the hair tie. The hair tie is a different color. Suppose I could bring my camera down, my main camera. Doesn't have to be so far away and just see only the white. I'm really impressed so far. I might jinx it by saying this, but so far my main camera has been really cooperative today as far as the lighting. I've been having a lot of trouble recently with it being either over or underexposed, but maybe having the black lines on here is giving it enough contrast data that it can figure out what it's trying to do. I like the really clean look of the white paper under my tabletop cover here. But I wonder if it might be helpful if I got some sort of mid-tone gray paper and put it under there, because then the camera, so many cameras use a sort of gray as their base for exposure calculation. I learned this from taking my photography class, my required photography class for my degree, and they have, I can't remember what it's called, but you basically get a gray card and then you can use that to calibrate your camera based on the lighting you're currently in. So I wonder if putting gray under my vinyl table cover here would do the same thing and allow the camera something to help it understand. Oh, I think that's more for white balance though. I mean, I never know until I try it. If I don't try it, I won't know if that works. But I like how the white looks. It's a blank canvas and it lets the attention be on my project, whatever project I'm working on. But I guess if the project is overexposed the whole time or underexposed during the stream, then it doesn't matter as much. Also, putting the gray paper under here would be a bunch of work, and I don't want to have to do that either. So, yeah, for now, it'll just be something I think about, I think. Not only will it be a bunch of work, I'll have to spend a bunch of money because I don't have a big giant sheet of gray paper. At least not anymore. I used to have some because I had to have them from projects in school. Not anymore. I used them, I'm pretty sure I used them up or gave them away because I was thinking I'll never use 18 by 24 inch paper again. I never want to make something so big again. Plus, I was trying to make room. After I graduated, I did a big cull of all of my art supplies. I got rid of stuff that I knew I would never want to use again, like oil paint, which is full of toxins and a big fire hazard, and it's also super messy and it takes forever to dry, so it has to just sit there and fume up your room and all these things. I knew I wouldn't use the oil paint anymore. Got rid of those. But then there was other stuff that I don't necessarily have a bad opinion of, a negative opinion of, but it's something that I knew I just wouldn't use. Oh, someone's at the door. Too bad, I'm at work right now. I may work from home, but that doesn't mean that I get up for every little thing. I'm working. Same thing happened yesterday too. People keep coming to the door right as I'm streaming. Sorry, people. I'll have to come back later, or if it's a delivery or something, just drop it off because I'm not getting up. Oh, they're actually knocking on the door though. Too bad, I'm working. I don't know why anybody would be here knocking on the door anyway, though. Okay, next color should be green for her overcoat. It's a very vibrant green. And at least out of the colors I have available to me, which is green and yellow green, it feels closer to yellow green, at least for the lighter color that I want to start with. So, oh, this might be a nice highlight color. Or this one. Ooh, which one? Also have these. This one. This one. This one is even more yellow. Let's go with this one, Yellow Green 05. For the base color, and then we will be adding on top of that. I'm just checking, where does this coat color go? It's the puff sleeves here, and then these side pieces. Okay. Actually, see a little bit right there. It's okay, Choppy. Choppy's still a little growly and barky from the whoever was ringing the doorbell and knocking on the door. That's pretty bright green to start with, but I'm starting with the lightest color first, and so that becomes the highlight color once you add more shades on top. So the next darkest color, I think, is the dark brown for her accessories. This feels right around here. So we'll start with E57 as the lightest color, base color. And we need this on the bracers and on the boots, and I think it's a different color. Yeah, it looks like red for the hair tie. It's dark, but it looks red. Okay. That should be all. Next, actually, I realized that I missed a little spot right here. There's a little edge showing. There. Got it. Got it. I'm going to look at something. I realized that this image doesn't have her cloak in it. Okay, it says silver chain, leaf clasp, and black. So on this first black and white reference image, there's lots of notes about what things are and what colors they should be. So it says her cloak should be black. So I'll definitely save that for last. I'll use dark grays so that we can still have plenty of visual information about the shape of the cloak and how it's moving. But next, I think, will be the gold edging, the gold piping on her outfit. So let's find a nice gold color. It's not a really vibrant gold, it's a more subdued kind of brownish sort of ochre yellow color. Let's see if I can find something like that in the yellows, or if I just need to go back to the earth tones. which is fine if I need to, but the earth tones in the yellowish earth tones don't have that big a variety. I think there's just like 5 colors that I have. Oh, this looks perfect. This looks like the exact color that he used in the reference. But as I wrote here, it says Chow. That means it's a different kind of marker. This is the standard Copic marker. The Chow markers are smaller, and they have slightly different tips. So I gotta get into one of these storage boxes over here. This one. Chow. Oh, it's this. This set. So you can see this nice yellow. Yellow 28. Yep. Yellow 28. And even the name of the color is Lionette Gold. Or Lyonnais. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's some sort of gold. So that's perfect. Excellent. Just set this pack to my left there in case I need it again. So I'm going to use these. Come with a brush tip. I'm going to use that. You know, I just realized that this lamp is making the camera cast a shadow, so I moved the lamp so it's not so dark. Yay! Although now my head is hitting the lamp. Okay. Hopefully that will work. Just going to use a teeny tiny tip. This is a very thin space. Do my best not to go outside the lines. Keep the marker straight up and down. Sweet. Boom, done. This clasp is supposed to be silver, so I'll just use one of the colors we already have. Let's just go for cool gray again. They're so small, I'm not going to be able to get very much in them, but let's make them a different color than the white paper. Then we can put a little dot of shiny white ink or something on them later. Alright, we've got, oh, I missed an area of gold because I haven't colored this part, but this also is gold. Is that it, or am I missing any other places? Okay, I think that's it for real this time. Next, let's add the dark green for this bit in the front. So what dark green color would be good? This reminds me of like a forest green. Well, this one says forest green, but this says ocean green, but this is more what I think like a evergreen forest. That's kind of the color. Yeah. So let's do this one. It's G28. There's just a teeny tiny area. Just try to get the marker in there without going outside the lines because that's so small, so small. I just realized another place where we need some silver, and that's on these buckles on her boots. Once again, it's so tiny, I'm just going to add a little color and probably won't add any shading. We might add shading later, but for now that'll be good. Next, might be time to do her cloak and her stockings. Oh, we didn't do the band on her hair. That's lighter than black. It's a very dark red though. Maybe we'll just go for it with the darkest red I have, which is R59. I had to move that box that those other markers were in. They're in my way. In my way from walking over to get my main markers. Looks good. Red and this kind of blue color is one of my favorite combinations, actually. Even though blue is my least favorite of the rainbow, when you pair it a certain shade of blue with red, looks so good. I guess her eyes. I haven't done her eyes. They seem a different color from her jacket. They seem a more sea green color. So we are going to get yet a different color. So we've got these blue greens. Ooh. Maybe this one for a base color, then we'll layer on. So this is a yellow green, but it's tending toward the cooler side. And we could layer on some blue greens or sea greens, but have this as the base, what will end up being the highlight color. So let's do that. Yellow green 09. Oh yes, I hope it looks really good. In fact, it's a lot darker than I expected. Now, at last, it is time to start coloring in the darkest areas, which are black fabrics. So we are going to use, oh, I love this toner gray. We use toner gray, so it's different from the metal and different from the eyes. Those are all three different materials. So we use a toner gray for the cloak, since it is meant to be black and her stockings are meant to be black. We'll actually start pretty dark. Let's start with T7 and I'll get all the way out through T10. My string of markers is getting very long here. They don't all fit in my secondary camera on the top right. Starting with T7. The lightest of these dark grays. It looks pretty dark, but once you get a big patch of it down, you can still see the black ink through it. Teeny tiny area here. Oh, I went over the line a little bit. It's hard because the tip of the marker is only so small. It'll be okay. We lost a little bit of arm there, but it's not the end of the world. Probably won't even be noticeable by the end. Okay, I got all of these markers out, but I'm just going to use the base color, and then I'll go over the whole body and bring everything up to the second layer of color, because I did the second layer on the face right away. So let's bring everything else up to that point. And with her hair, it might be nice if I go over it again, because it seems like my marker got revitalized as I was using it, because these areas that I did first are a lot lighter than what I did later. So it got woken up by actually being used. So let's go over the hair again so that the color looks more even. As I build up this color, I think I might use it to start the beginning of the shading too. Oh, sorry, you made it after all. Hello. Oh, wow. Good job surviving the DMV for 2 hours. I'm so glad you could make it. I saw your message just as I was getting ready. I thought you couldn't make it, so I'm so glad you could get here after all. How was it? Was it successful and you don't have to deal with that for another year or two? I don't know exactly what you were there for. I hope it was successful and you don't have to deal with it for a little while again. I'm glad our DMV, we don't have to. Of course, I guess you're in a new state, so maybe that's why. That's why you had to go in. But our DMV, we can do almost everything digitally. It's wonderful, like renewing our plates and all that stuff. The only thing that I'm gonna have to go in eventually in person is to get the star card eventually. But for now, I have my passport and that trumps the star card. So I'm like, why should I go in and get this special ID when I can just use my passport? But one day, my driver's license will expire either way, and then I'll have to do it. But for now, renewing my plates and stuff, it's so nice to just do it online, fill out the form, send in my payment. Ah, yeah. So you got the real ID. I think that's what the star card is here. So that you're meeting all of the security standards, all the modern security standards or whatever. Ah, it has a star. Okay. Yeah. Yep, since you're changing states, I thought that might be the case. You have to get established there as a new resident and everything. Okay, I think that's good for her hair. Oh, I guess I'll introduce what we're working on. We're working on Kara Duren again. Did not mean to rhyme, but I did. And we're doing the Copic marker coloring with the hopes that I can finish this today. Because if I can, I will be entering my rest week next week where I'm going to be taking off from streaming for a week with no projects hanging over my head. Well, the bees project will be there, but that's such a big one. It's not like I'm almost done with it. This one I'm almost done with, so I really hope I can finish it. Alright, I think that's good for the first level of shading on the hair, so let's move on to the next thing. We've got the yellow, green, 05. Maybe I'll just do the same thing with all of these and use the same color again as the first level of shading. Because the colors do layer fairly well with Copic markers, so I'll just go ahead and do that. I don't do it as much. Maybe I would save myself time if I actually thought of it more often and tried doing that for the first layer of shading. And I've decided the light is coming from the upper left, so that means this side of her body should have some shading on it. And over here, the cloak is blowing back, so it's actually going to be getting the light. It's not going to be shaded by the cloak. Yeah, that's good for that one. What's next? I already did the skin, although I could take this base color and soften up some of the lines a little bit with the shading. got a little blue outside the lines here. I think I'll clean that up with Photoshop later. This is pretty distracting. Sometimes it's okay if the colors are bleeding here and there because it's not really that noticeable, but I feel like that's pretty noticeable. Yeah, precisely. Definitely way more intense. I've been actually feeling like frustrated that I'm not further along with it. So it was really nice yesterday to make some decent progress with it, getting that final drawing done, or started, not even done, just started. But I was feeling like despair, like, oh, I'm gonna be in the thumbnail stage forever and I'm never gonna finish it. So it was really nice yesterday to be able to move on to the next step and feel like, oh, okay, I am making progress. I'm not stuck. I'm just feeling impatient. And that feeling does tend to last for a while until you get to the very end stage and you're like, oh man, I can't believe it's almost done. Happens every time. Happens to me every time. Alrighty, next we could do her eyes. Just doing the same thing with all of these. Using the same color again, but layering it to get some shadows, some subtle shadows. Alright, what else haven't I done? Oh, I haven't done the hair tie. Okay, hair tie, eyes, skin. Oh, it didn't really do the skin on the... Well, it's not that... No, we'll be fine with the skin for now. And then the cloak... I already did a little shading on the white part. The gold part of the cloak, though, we can add little shading there. And the dark green part of the cloak. It's not even the cloak. Why do I keep calling it a cloak? I'm not doing the cloak. This dress underneath. That's what we're doing next. The brown. I used the shadow color for the skin for this light brown. For the dark brown, I used this color. Oh, and her bracers are that brown color too. Which I think will be all in shadow because of the cloak and the body blocking the light. Yeah, I think it's time to move on to the black fabrics. And this I'm actually just going to go to the next darkest color because I pulled out 4 colors to use for it. This marker feels pretty dry though. I don't want to spend any time refilling markers even if I have the refills. Because I want to get this done. Of course, if it's like I must use that color and it's completely dry, then I'll just have to. I'll just have to stop and refill it, but try not to. Try to just do what I can with what I have. Hearing that snoring, that's Aoife as usual. My big dog Aoife sleeping over here. Pretty blue for the hair. Yeah, I thought so too. Here's her reference image. It's pretty close. I mean, my phone screen looks really blue, but it's a nice color. And I was saying earlier that I love this combo of this color blue plus red. Is one of my favorite color combos. I think it looks so nice. And speaking of, let's now just keep working top to bottom. So now I've filled out all the colors, so I'm not as worried about the from light to dark, except within that color itself. So I'm just going to work top to bottom so that I can keep making the shading even over the whole character, regardless of what color I'm working in. Hopefully that makes sense. I never know if I'm explaining what I'm thinking well, but I know what I'm thinking, so. The color I used is B24, which was this one. But what I wanted to do was move up here. This looks a little bit more rich, the one above it. I wanted to use that next. That's B16. And what I find when I move up a row like this is it might not actually make that much difference once I put it down, but we'll find out. There's no problem with just trying something and seeing. I don't like blue by itself, and you can even watch this stream recording later if you want to verify. I actually said it earlier. I don't like blue, as it's my least favorite color from the rainbow. But in this combination, this shade of blue with red, especially, this is a darker red, but especially with a brighter red, that's sort of nautical colors. It's sort of like white or an off-white with this blue and a little bit brighter red than that. It's one of my faves. It's so nice. It's so pretty. But yeah, blue by itself, especially navy blue. Those really dark ones is not my favorite at all. This is even darker than I expected, this marker. I gotta have to be careful with it. In fact, this is so dark. I want to find something to be in between. This is way bigger a difference than I expected. B16, but it's coming out so dark. Maybe we'll do B14. Let's see what B14 is like. And then it's time to go on break. B14. I got started 5 minutes late because I was updating my little Twitch alerts pop-up thing that shows on my screen when someone subscribes or donates to the fundraiser or anything. I realized it was hard to see because it was on top of my Chibi carousel, so I moved it to be just in the middle here. And also maybe I will notice when it goes off because I don't always notice. And then don't always acknowledge, which I want to acknowledge when someone supports me or the causes I care about. This one is super dark too. It's just as dark. You need to use the margin here. Look how dark that is. It's too dark. I like the color, but it looks so much brighter here. Go to B12. Let's see about B12. It's good as a shadow color. This is good as a shadow color, but I didn't want to go that dark yet. It's a little too much. I want to have a nice transition here. I'll just try it here first. Okay, that seems like it would be good. It actually seems like it's lighter than this one. Time to find out. Time to find out. Okay. Hooray. I found a transition color. Hooray. So I'll finish applying this and then it's time to go on break. Break time. I'm gonna have a yummy jerky snack. Soy jerky. It's habanero mango flavor, I think. It's gonna be super good. So excited to try it. I've never tried this brand before. Came in my Vegan Cuts box a couple months ago and I still haven't gotten to it yet. But since I'm having a cinnamon roll tonight, I wanted to have a nice high protein snack. Thus, my soy jerky. Yeah, this is a much better transition color. Oh, Sketchy You is here. Oh, hello. So glad to see you. Yay. Good job today at work. お疲れ様。お疲れ様でした。How'd it go? How you doing? You got the weekend off? Looking forward to anything fun? So as you can see, we got started on your Chibi OC Kara Duren. I'm just about to go on break though. I've been streaming for a little over an hour now. So it's definitely break time, but I want to finish the hair while I'm in the mindset of finishing the hair, so perfect. I'm glad that I'm taking my break a little bit later than usual so that you can pop in. You have Sunday, Monday off. Okay, so one more day. You got tomorrow, and then your weekend begins. Hooray! Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think so since this is your birthday present. Happy birthday! Sarah Cinnamon Roll. Yes. I decided that I'm going to set myself a weekly goal that's separate from my normal tasks. So my normal tasks are work on writing my novel, do some reading, because that's part of writing work is to be well read, and to live stream on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's a few other things as well, but I decided to choose some other task to try to get done. And if I get it done, my reward is a huge monster cinnamon roll from Cinnaholic. And I achieved my task this week as well, which was to publish another Japan adventure post to my blog. So I did that. I earned my cinnamon roll. Gonna be having that soon after the stream. I don't know what flavor I'm gonna get. They have all kinds of amazing toppings. I might get one of my faves, which is cookie dough topped cinnamon roll. Ooh, how big we talking? Oh, dude, huge. They're like this big. So like my hand, it's like this. And then I often get it delivery, so it's all hot and fresh and all the toppings are melting off and all gooey. And so it just fills the box with this lava of toppings, whatever I picked, because they've got peanut butter cups, they've got all kinds of fruits. It definitely motivates me to get that bonus task done. I've been doing this for 3 weeks now, and it's worked every time. The idea of that cinnamon roll is so motivating. Okay, almost done with this layer of shady. And then it's break time. Break time, snack time. Stretch time. Leave my dungeon studio time. It's an extremely cozy dungeon studio though. I'm in the basement, but it's really nice in here. But it's good to go up and get some natural light into my eyes and look at something else, something far away, so my eyes can have a break from focusing close up. All right. Gonna leave her here for now. I encourage everyone else to take the opportunity to have a little break. Of course, Sketchy Doo just got here, but whatever y'all need to feel refreshed, please take the opportunity. I'm gonna put my be right back sign up and be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. I certainly did. I tried this Kojo jerky for the first time. Oh, it's so good. It's not habanero mango. That was a flavor I had of a different brand recently. I remembered because I saw the package. This is spicy chipotle and it's so good, and it's my favorite texture too. It's not really hard and it's chewy, but in a pleasant way. So I'm in an extremely good mood now because that is a super yummy snack. I also have my juice shake, so I'm going to have a little bit of that now. Get some nutrition in. I mean, the jerky is nutritious, the soy jerky. So I am ready to move on to the next level of shading for everything. I've done everything 2 levels of color now. So let's see, I'm going to put this one next to here because we know. So we're going to move on to the 3rd level. And should we just start with the hair again? We just got done with the hair. It should be dry by now. Let's do the hair. So I've got these 2 colors. I think I'll stick with the first one. I think. It's hard. It's so dark. Maybe I should stick with the second one, but I feel like I don't like the color as much because you can see this edge right here was this lighter color. But this still is a pretty big jump from the color we have here and to this. And this still seems like a pretty big jump too. So maybe there's something in between. I don't know if you've tasted chipotle before. Tastes good. It's just a sort of seasoning. Hold on, let me ask. Okay, Google. What is chipotle seasoning made with?
On the website magicseasoningblends.com, they say, this chili lover's delight is a blend of smoked jalapenos, dried herbs, and citrus flavors.
Well, it didn't have that many details, but it's jalapenos, herbs, and citrus. It's quite yummy. I recommend it. Recommend the chipotle flavor. All right, let's pick a blue. Let's pick a blue. We need to find an in-between color. Blast it. Because I started here. Then I went up here and it was way too dark. Then I went here, it was still too dark. Went here. This looks lighter than this in my swatch book. So I need something that'll be a transition. Maybe this one. This Tahitian blue up here, B04. I'll do a little test in the margin first. B04. Alright, that's definitely a nice in-between, because this is the really dark one that I used first. This one is the one I actually used for the secondary shadow. And then the one on the end here is the color I just chose, so we'll use this one. Yeah, herbs can mean so many things. Like, there's literally thousands of herbs if you go around the world, so... Oh, really? Yeah, it's a spice flavor seasoning blend originally, but yeah, Chipotle the restaurant is a thing too. That's funny. I'm pretty sure I've had some stuff from there. It's not like some people are like, oh my god, Chipotle, but for me, I'm like, It wasn't mind-blowing. It was just like another Mexican-style restaurant chain. It wasn't terribly impressive. Oh, the food was good. It wasn't like it was bad, but it didn't explain the hype. It didn't explain the fandom to me. That's what I'm getting at. Oh, you have any there? I just thought it was a made-up word. That's funny. Right, that's why I'm always trying to raise money. Sketchy, do you? I hate to think how much you spent on your Copic markers. It was a lot, and it has been a lot, because the refills are just as expensive. But it's nice, the refills last way longer than the original marker. So it's like getting multiple markers in one. So it is a good investment. I do not regret investing in these markers. But yeah, that's why I'm always trying to fundraise and use my artwork to support the creation of more artwork, because it's pretty expensive. A worthwhile investment, though. Absolutely. I love these markers, and my favorite thing to use, like next to watercolor, it's hard. They're so different. Watercolor versus marker. And you can't really call marker dry media either, so I can't divide it up that way, but definitely and that's why I use them all the time. Definitely in my top fave physical media to use. Worth every penny, even if you can't get them on sale, because sometimes you can get them on sale, and if you can, ooh, you should swoop in and do it. Unless you're not that interested. If you're just sort of curious, might be better if you can try to borrow some off of someone or something like that. But if you're like, yes, I want to make marker artwork, it's a worthwhile investment. Yeah. So Sarah says exactly what I'm talking about. Ended up giving away my alcohol markers when we moved because rarely use them. So they're not worth it if you're not going to use them. But if you feel sure that they are something you want to incorporate into your art making, go for it. Go for it. And especially, I think it's important to test whether you want to use markers at all with a high quality marker, because so many people think either they're not good at a certain media or that they don't like a certain media because they're using a cheap version of it. And I understand the thinking. The thinking is, well, why should I spend a bunch of money on it if I don't even know I'm going to use it? So that's why it's good if you can find some demo or some workshop or something where you can just try it and you're not actually buying them, because the quality of the material makes such a huge difference, and you can't really fully understand that difference until you experience it for yourself. Actually seeing it, using high quality paper too, it all makes a difference. Buy some off a shady dealer in Dark Alley. Yeah, when you get them home, they're all dry and crusty. And they smell terrible as well. I've had some of those cheapo markers like that. I like they can lay color flatly, but I couldn't figure out the shading and blending techniques. For me, it just took some experimentation. Having watercolor experience really helped with figuring out how to use markers to create blending and shading. Because it's very similar to watercolor. It's not exactly the same, obviously, but the principles are very similar. Okay, so we're getting closer to the light source, so I'm doing less and less of these little hatching lines of the shade color here. Yes, having the right paper is very important, says Sketchy. Yes, it's so important, especially for watercolor. So many people I've seen, and they've told me things like, oh, I hate watercolor, or I can't use watercolor, I'm really bad at watercolor, or whatever. And then I see the paper they're using. No wonder you feel that way, because the paper is key for watercolor. It's even more important, I think, than the actual paint. Having the good quality paper to work on. Especially if you get one of those so-called practice pads or student grade paper, they call it, and it's just terrible, and it crumbles away under your brush strokes, and it's just like a huge waste of money, and then it makes people feel defeated, and it's terrible. It shouldn't even be allowed to be sold. tricks people. They're like, oh, yeah, I can try watercolor to save some money at the same time. And then they just feel like they hate watercolor. And it's so sad because I think watercolor is so beautiful. Marker paper. Stocked up and didn't use it. Sent some to me. I probably have it here in my collection. I have so... And most of it to the other marker person. A local artist who's getting back into art. Oh, that's good. That's nice. Especially if you're getting back into it. It can be hard to restock and to figure out where to start. Thank you for helping them. It's very nice of you to do that. I have so much paper, I'm trying to work through it. Trying to get through my hoard. I'm slowly doing it. I've gotten really good about my impulse spending, my impulse buys, so I don't just go to the art store to browse and buy paper with no specific purpose in mind. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. It was a very bad habit. Speaking of my poor wallet. Don't do that anymore, and I've been figuring out ways to use the paper I have. But sometimes, like when I bought my new replacement sketchbook, it's like I've got to have that one. I've got to have that particular product for what I'm trying to do. But that's a rare exception among all of my many kinds of paper. Oh, there's so many messages. Child quality supplies are going to ruin whatever you give them. Not for anyone who actually wants to make art and not a mess. Yeah, like if you're just giving it to a little kid, you know, like a 4-year-old, someone who just wants to experience putting the color on a paper, doesn't have any expectations, isn't going to make any judgments, then I think that's all right. Bill Watterson did great work with watercolor. I feel like that name is familiar. Where do I know that name from? Sounds like a more recent artist. My art history specialty in university was the early modern period. It does not sound like an early modern artist to me. Sounds familiar though. Oh, Calvin and Hobbes. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and I love the coloring on his... Well, I don't know if he was using watercolor in the comics, but I love the coloring in those comics. The render paper. Oh, I love that paper for markers. It's so good. Yeah, I remember you did send me that now that you said the brand. The render paper... Here, I'll actually show you why it's good. This is not render paper. See how the marker comes through on the back? Render paper doesn't do that. But, because it's not absorbent, it does give you a different look. So you have to be aware of that when you're making your work. You won't get the same look because this piece looks like it does because it's absorbing the marker. So it does make a difference to the appearance in the end. That's why low quality exists. Not for people who want to put in effort. And not for people who just want to test either. Because then they judge themselves to be poor at it when it's not them. It's the materials. I can't tell you how many people when they see my watercolor work. And ever since I've been doing the pop-up markets since last autumn, I've been hearing this comment even more than usual. Where they see my watercolor work and they say stuff like, oh, I'm terrible at watercolor, or watercolor is so hard, or these kind of negative judgments, and especially judgments against themselves. And I bet you could do it. I bet you'd be great at watercolor. But, you know, that's not the point, so I don't argue with them or anything, but I just think it's so sad. So sad that there's this stereotype, and it doesn't have to be. I got so much texture on the rest of the hair. I want to add a little bit more texture there. And I think the shading is coming along nicely. And with the shading this time, I've also added texture, as I just said. So let's move down. Move down to the face. We want the third level of shading. One day try painting. Love to do that, but then see the cost of paint, Sketchy says. Yep. But I recommend, if you want to start somewhere, here I'll show you a really great item that's not too expensive. Let's see if I can get it out here. I'm in my watercolor drawer right now. Look at this little baby. This is my favorite brand of watercolor. It's very modestly priced. It's the Sakura, so it's the same brand as my favorite fine liner pens. This is Sakura brand. It's Koi is what their watercolors are called. This is the Pocket Field Sketch Box. So it's very inexpensive. And so this one has a certain range of colors in it. They come with certain ranges of colors. You can get ones with more colors, less colors. And then it comes with a water brush that you can fill and pop in here so you can do plein air painting. And then this little sponge so you can wipe off colors and start with a new color. This one's cool too because it has these metallic colors. It doesn't want to focus, but you can see the shiny. So I have several of these, so I really recommend this. And then just get yourself a little pad of high quality paper. Let me see. I think I can show you what I'm talking about. A really nice brand I love. I'm enjoying getting distracted right now, so don't stop me. Where is it? Where's my favorite little pads? Oh, is it back here? Ooh, these are fun too, but that's not what I'm looking for. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Ah, here we go. Found it. So these are really high quality, but, so they're expensive if you look at the size, but since it's only 4x6, you can try a really nice high quality paper. This one comes in a block, which is great because you can paint on it. It gets all wrinkly, but since it's a block, it's got this wax on the side, so it can dry relatively flat as long as you don't take it off before it's dry. So I recommend getting one of those little Sakura Koi field sketch kits, and this is the Fluid brand. And it's easy to see if it's better quality. So this is only 140 pounds, but it's in this block, so that makes it work a lot better. If you get the loose leaf sheets that are 140 pounds, they'll be really, really wrinkly. But the Fluid brand is really nice, and you can get the higher the pounds or the higher the GSM, the higher quality the paper. Okay, I'm done. I'm getting off of the soapbox, my watercolor soapbox. Those are my tips if you'd like to try watercolor. Just get one of the little sketch kits, those field sketch kits. Sakura Koi is the brand. I think it's wonderful. And the Fluid paper. There's lots of other good quality paper too, but that's just an example I had on hand. Back to this piece. So I'm looking for a third color. I use this color. We could go here, but that's getting a little bit sort of ashen. So let's get a little bit more color into her skin. So we could try something like this, maybe. Oh, Chappie's barking. Little dog Chappie's barking. Chappie, be quiet. Chappie, be quiet. Come here. Chappie, don't bark. You're disturbing everyone on the stream. You go back to bed. You go back to bed. Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. It's okay. It's because my husband is walking around upstairs and she's hearing him and she decided that she needs to bark. That's what's going on there. Let's try this one, E33. See if that's a nice next color. E33 for the skin. Got my first charity spam with mailing links. That comes real fast. Those come so soon after moving. Like, they know instantly. Whoa, this person that might give us money has moved. Quick. And then it's so sad because stuff like, so you're reminding me that one of my in-law relatives sent us a letter recently, actually a couple letters, and it turns out that all these years we've been living at this address for, I don't know, 8 years, a long time now, and only this year did they get our new address. I'm like, well, how did we miss them? Because I sent out address change cards to everyone. So it's so sad that someone I actually want to get mail from didn't have my new address, but all the charity spam, yep, they're on it. And I didn't even notify them. Sketchy, don't stop me now. Gonna have a good time. I'm having a ball. I think that song is on my Power Songs playlist, actually. I love that song. I love Queen. Made my own blocks by hot flying the edge. 95%. Yeah. You've got to be able to get a knife or something in there to lift it up off the block. You can see on this pad, it's only sealed on 2 sides. So it's not sealed on this side. And it's not sealed on this side. So all you do is, I don't recommend a sharp knife. Some sort of blunt, think like a letter opener. Just stick it in there and then slice it off. Oh, we'll allow this. Because WTF can be interpreted in different ways. So I'll allow this. Also, little Chappie has a big dog bark. Yep. She's a big dog in a little dog body. She definitely has a big personality, too. You probably didn't miss them. They put it aside and forgot. I don't remember what I was saying for that message. Sorry. So much is going on in the chat right now. I'm trying to keep track of the conversations. Queen is always good for a good time. Yep. Always feel charged up by Queen. I'm going to have some more of my yummy juice shake. Sweet and delicious with the fun little chia seeds in it. Oh. About the address change. Got it. Got glue. I think it still means hot glue, not flying. I thought you were just doing some flying technique. Hot flying, hot gluing. I was like, that must be some technique that I didn't recognize. Alright, you probably sent them your change of address. I feel certain that I would have. But since they're an in-law relative, I might have missed them, you know? But we've had family reunions at their house and everything, so... Anyway, we've got the right address now, so I can start adding them to my Christmas card list and all that stuff. Okay, we did the 3rd layer of color on her skin, so let's move on to the next thing. We've actually already done 3 layers of colors on the whites of the eyes, but how about the colorful part of her eyes, the iris? Oh, I went past the greens. I wanted to get... I've got to wake my phone up. I went to sleep and started putting the... Come on, wake up, please, phone. No! No! It wants me to do my fingerprint. No. phone, you're not being very helpful right now. Thank you. I just wanted to get this back up so that I could look. So the eyes, I wanted to add a little bit of more blue-green to them to make it a slightly different color from what we've got going on in her outfit. So might add like this blue-green 49 to be shadow color. Let's try it. BG 49. BG 49. Blue-green 49. And the irises are a very, very small area, so I'm just going to put it mostly at the top. And then we can add more with colored pencil later, because that will be much easier to control. To control how wide of marks it's making. So they were actually done with the eyes with marker, which I'm going to remove these from my long line of markers here, so that I don't have to worry about that. So I'm then moving down. Let's work on the green of her jacket. So I used the yellow green 05 as the base color. I think I need to get a little bit more, well, to me grass green, this is called grass green, but that's not the color I'm thinking. To me grass green is more like something over here. I'm looking at what we've got here. It's pretty light. Maybe this one. G07. Yeah, there's lots of types of grass. That's why I try not to use these names, because they feel so subjective. They're not an objective name, but this numbering, letter and number system, that's objective. It's just an organizing system. I'm actually going to test this color because I have a feeling that it's going to be like these. Oh, that's all right. So it's not too dark. I didn't want it to be like this one, which was a surprise when I put it down and it was so dark. Definitely under the cloak will be all dark. But here the sun will be hitting. Well, I assume it's the sun. The lighting will be hitting. Let's put a little bit more shading under the chest to give some dimension to the chest. I'm imagining the sun coming from, or the light coming from this direction. Oh, my middle camera stopped working. Hold on, I will reset it to get it working. Why do you do that, primary camera? You give me so much trouble. Okay, I'm just gonna switch to a different camera to start. And we'll switch back. Hopefully we can. Want to come back? I don't want to have to end my stream and restart it. If I turn it off. Turn it on. Oh, it's not wanting to work. Usually this does it. Oh, it did it finally. Finally, it reconnected. We're back. Woo! You were so confused by that. Sorry about that. This camera, I feel like it needs a firmware update or something. Maybe there is one and I can try to look for it. See if there is a firmware update. Because it was a sort of, it wasn't kickstarted, but it was crowdfunded. So it might just be full of bugs from being the first release or something, you know? Because the idea of it is great. The idea of this camera. But the actual... what it does is a little... come on. Okay, jacket's coming along. I feel like I want to darken it up a little bit more here. I wanted this lighter green to be the highlight color, but it's just a little bit too light still. So we'll layer that original color to darken it up. Actually, I think I'm going to add this dark green in here. There. Next, we'll do the white part in the middle. Oh, what color was I using for that? Shoot, I don't remember. I think I used cool gray. I think I used cool gray for all the gray / white parts on the outfit. And I already used Cool Gray 0 and 1, so we are going to go to Cool Gray 2 for the next level of shading. We actually don't need too much here in the middle. It's getting plenty of light. We'll probably bring it down one more level up here at the neck, though. But that'll be later. Moving down, the gold. The gold trim. What about the coolest gray? Are you making a joke or something? I don't get it. The coolest gray. Cool gray is the coolest gray. Gold trim. I used a yellow. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go to the earth tones. The yellowish earth tones, which there's only 6. Is this the one I have out already? No, it's not. Okay. I just don't think this is going to make a difference, this E55. I don't think it's going to be dark enough. Yes, you are trying to make a joke. I'm oblivious. You're going to have to help me out here. Yeah, this E55 is really close. Well, we could just go E57, which I already have out. I have to concentrate because these areas are so tiny. They're itty bitty. Okay, I think that's good. And actually that looks great. What the heck? They're right next to each other. These two colors are right next to each other actually. So I think next, moving down, oh, should it be the dark green or should it be the brown on her bracers? Let's just do the dark green. So I used G28. Let's see what's the nice next darker color for that. I already picked a pretty dark green. Well, we'll see if it makes any difference. It seems really close, but G29 is the only actual green that I have. But there are other ways to make it darker, so even if it doesn't work, we can do something else. Oh good, it is making a difference. Nice. I think that's all I'll do with marker for this little green area. So I'm going to take these out so I don't have to think about them. I will do the rest with colored pencil because it is just so small and I don't want to lose these nice details. So now let's go to the browns for the brown equipment. So I think I used the E43 for these lighter browns. But I don't want it to look like the skin, so I don't want the shading to be the same as the skin. I want it to look like something else. So I suppose it's a great opportunity to go over to this next color, because instead of going over to that for the skin, I went up to something a little bit more lively looking. So let's do E44 for the bracers and the boots. I'm doing a lot of tapping because these areas are so small that dragging it across the page might be a little bit too much application. Alright, that's pretty good. Sneak that marker in between there. Now this darker brown, which was this E57, we need a darker shade for that one. Brown equipment sounds like code for plumber tools. I played so much Mario though that I don't think of it. I don't think of it like that. When I think of plumber, I think of the green pipes that Mario goes into in his red and blue outfit. Mario has made plumbing rainbow for me. Yeah, let's go to the next step along this line. E57 was the starting color. Let's go to E59. You never told me what Kata's job was, so she might be a plumber. I don't know. This marker is a lot darker than I thought it would be. Gotta be careful with it. This keeps happening to me. Looks good on the swatch, and then I put it on the paper and like, what's happening? Let's add more E57 to blend it in. Going back to the previous color. Oh, that looks really good blending it in. Yay! And the same thing over here. And right here too. Whew! All's well that ends well. I'd guess her job is being awesome. Yeah, it does seem like that. Whatever she does, it's gotta be awesome. I guess I will put a little bit more shading on these little silver bits using marker. So right now they're still so white that I don't think a bit of white ink, which is what I want to do. I want to put a bit of white ink at the end to leave a little pop of highlight to show that it's silver. Shoot, we're definitely not going to be able to finish this today. Dang it, I wanted to, but oh well, I had a great time with you guys, so it's all worth it. It's all good. Having a good time is the most important thing to me. We still got 4 minutes though, so let's see what else we can do. I think it's time to darken up the cloak some more. So we're going to move on to the next color. We've done T7 and 8, so we're going to do 9. Adventurer. Odd jobs pay for drinks at the local tavern. She lives a simple life. AKA being awesome. That's on her resume. 2004 to 2025. Title, awesome. Awesomer. Awesome doer. Awesomer. So interesting how the English language works. Because you can put ER to change it to say this is a thing. It's describing a person who does a thing. But you can put ER on the end to say that it's even more than what it was. So it's even more awesome than awesome. Oh, it's looking really cool. It's looking really cool if I do say so myself. With the shading. With the shading on the cloak. Yeah! I also did her stockings as well. I have to take a picture of my markers. I think I will after I'm done. There's only a couple minutes left though, so I think it'll be good to stop here because I just finished the third layer of shading on every part of the body. Not just every part of the body, every part of this figure. So I think it'll be good to stop here so that I'm not starting the next layer of color and then stopping after only 2 minutes. So I will do a little close-up view. Wait for the camera to focus. Thank you, camera. Here's how far we got with coloring Cara de Ren today. She's really coming to life. It's going to be so exciting to add that final little sparkle to her eyes at the end. But that'll be it for today, and it's also going to be it for the next week. I will not be back next week because I'm taking a rest week so that I can do some other things and also just get recharged because honestly, live streaming is actually really draining. I enjoy it quite a bit, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy. So that will be it for this week and for next week, but I will be back to my normal schedule after that. And it's going to be a special streaming week. I am going to set up a Suikoden launch streaming week. It's going to be the same times and length of time, but it's going to be all Suikoden themed. So it's going to be super exciting because Suikoden is my favorite game series of all time. And it's getting a proper remaster for the first time ever, coming out on multiple platforms. I'm so excited to play it on the Switch. So yeah, let's see if there's anybody to raid today. Anywhere fun to drop y'all off? Oh wow, Seacraft Icelia is streaming. We have not visited them in ages. Says I'm gonna paint some pretty things. That'll be a good one. Oh, thank you, Sketchy. That's so nice of you to say that. And I'm glad that you like how this is going because this is supposed to be for you. So I want to make something that you like. This is really fun, too. Her character design is really fun. Having a great time doing this Chibi. Of course, I enjoy making all Chibis. That's why I made Chibi Friday a thing. So that I could end my work week with something fun no matter what. Alright, y'all. Let's go raid. Time to open a Twitch tab. And /raid. Let's see. C Crafts by Celia. Okay. Starting the raid. I hope to see you in a couple weeks. But even if not, I want to wish you a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful next week. Let's go! Alright, everyone. The raid worked. So if you are still on my channel now or watching the recording on YouTube, like I said, that's it for me today and for the next week. I hope to see you once I come back from my break. Thank you for watching.